An unexpected twist in the studio of Piers Morgan Uncensored became one of the most explosive moments in the history of live television. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett sat across from Piers Morgan, her expression calm despite the bombshell she was about to drop. He leaned back with his characteristic smirk, having just finished what he thought was a devastating critique of Crockett's hearings in Congress, his British accent tinged with disdain. "Congresswoman Crockett," Morgan began, adjusting his tie. "Surely even you must admit that your recent performances in Congress have been more about building your personal brand than serving the American people." What happened next sent shockwaves through the media world. Crockett reached into her briefcase, pulled out a legal document, and placed it on the table. The camera zoomed in. United States District Court, Southern District of New York. "Actually, Piers," she said, her voice steady, "I'm here to serve you with something else entirely. You've just been served with a $20 million defamation lawsuit. Live on your own show." The silence lasted 5 seconds, long enough for Morgan's face to cycle through confusion, disbelief, and pure panic. The clip of his jaw dropping would be viewed millions of times within 48 hours. Piers Morgan has always thrived on controversy. A former newspaper editor and America's Got Talent judge, he's known for his sharp wit and willingness to push boundaries, often crossing lines that led to legal trouble. His show Piers Morgan Uncensored became a stage for attacking American politicians, especially progressive Democrats, using an aggressive interrupting style designed to embarrass guests. Over the past 6 months, Morgan had made Jasmine Crockett a regular target, dedicating segments to mocking her, calling her unqualified and grandstanding. However, his attacks took a personal turn, which ultimately led to his downfall. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, representing Texas's 30th congressional district, was a formidable voice. While others might brush off media attacks, Crockett understood the precise legal standards for defamation. The breaking point came 3 weeks earlier when Morgan aired the Jasmine Crockett problem, claiming she faked her law degree, was under ethics investigation, and had financial conflicts of interest. Every claim was false, and Crockett had documentation to prove it. Morgan's producers thought they were getting another opportunity to embarrass a Democrat. Instead, they witnessed a spectacular legal ambush. The interview began typically with Morgan launching an aggressive opening. "Congresswoman Crockett," he began, "your recent congressional performances have been described as theatrical grandstanding." Crockett responded calmly. "Piers, holding powerful people accountable is exactly what my constituents sent me to Washington to do." Morgan wasn't satisfied. "But surely some of your tactics have been questionable. Your confrontation with Justice Allo, for instance." Crockett corrected him. "The legal experts I've spoken with praise the thoroughness of my preparation." Irritated, Morgan's voice sharpened. "Let's talk about your qualifications, then. You're 44, in Congress less than 2 years, yet you position yourself as an expert. Don't you think that's presumptuous?" Crockett maintained composure. "My qualifications speak for themselves, Piers. I'm a licensed attorney who specialized in civil rights law. I earned my law degree from the University of Houston and have been practicing for over a decade. I'm curious, what are your legal qualifications?" Morgan bristled. "I'm a journalist, Congresswoman. I ask the questions here." Crockett smiled slightly. "I just wanted to establish the credentials of the person questioning my qualifications." The tension built. Morgan's producers likely urged him to regain initiative. "Let's talk about specific concerns," Morgan said, pulling out a folder. "Questions about your financial disclosures, your relationship with lobbyists, and transparency." This was Crockett's moment. Morgan was moving into false factual claims. "That's interesting, Piers Morgan," she said, a new edge in her voice. "Could you be more specific?" "I've been completely transparent." Morgan pressed harder. "Reports suggest your law degree credentials have been questioned. You're under investigation by ethics committees, and you have undisclosed financial conflicts." The studio fell silent. These were specific, provable claims. Crockett knew they were false. "Piers," she said, her voice taking on a cross-examination tone, "I need you to be very careful. Are you stating as fact that my law degree has been questioned? Are you claiming I'm under ethics investigation? Are you asserting I have undisclosed financial conflicts?" Morgan, sensing he had rattled her, doubled down. "These are concerns raised by credible sources. The American people deserve to know. And what are these credible sources, Piers? But before diving into the story, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the stories they don't want you to see." Morgan waved his hand dismissively. I'm not going to reveal my sources. That's when Crockett delivered the first blow. Piers, you've just made several specific false statements about me on live television. My law degree has never been questioned. I am not under investigation. I have no undisclosed financial conflicts. She leaned forward. More importantly, I believe you know these statements are false. 3 weeks ago, your production team contacted my office. My staff provided documentation proving these allegations were baseless. Morgan's confidence cracked. Congresswoman, I stand by my reporting. Your reporting? Crockett interrupted. Piers, you haven't done any reporting. You've repeated false claims without verification, ignored evidence, and are now doubling down on lies. The atmosphere shifted. Morgan tried to regain control. Now hold on just a minute. No, Piers, you hold on, Crockett said, her voice rising with righteous anger. For months, you've been making false statements. You've questioned my qualifications, integrity, and honesty without factual basis. You've created a pattern of defamatory content. She reached into her briefcase. You want to talk about accountability? Let's talk about your accountability for the lies you've been spreading. Morgan was flustered. Congresswoman, you're being overly sensitive. This is legitimate journalism. Legitimate journalism? Crockett's voice commanded the studio. It involves fact-checking. It involves giving people a chance to respond. It involves correcting errors. She pulled out a thick folder. I have transcripts of every false statement you've made. I have emails from your production team showing you were given evidence contradicting these claims. I have documentation proving every allegation you've made tonight is factually false. The tension was electric. Morgan's producers frantically tried to figure out how to handle the unfolding legal nightmare. Furthermore, Crockett continued, I have evidence that you made these statements with actual malice, meaning you either knew they were false or acted with reckless disregard for their truth. Morgan tried one last time. Congresswoman, you're upset, but threatening legal action on my show is hardly appropriate. I'm not threatening legal action, Piers, Crockett said, reaching into her briefcase one final time. I'm taking it. She pulled out the legal document. The moment Jasmine Crockett placed the document on the table, the atmosphere changed. Morgan's smirk evaporated. Piers Stephen Morgan, Crockett said, her voice formal. You are hereby served with a complaint filed in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. The camera zoomed in on Morgan's face, capturing his transformation from confident personality to panicked defendant. His mouth opened and closed soundlessly. The silence stretched. This can't be real, Morgan stammered. You can't just on live television. This is absolutely real, Piers, Crockett replied, steady and professional. And the fact that you're being served on live television is entirely appropriate, considering that's where you committed the defamation. She opened the document. The complaint alleges defamation per se, false light, invasion of privacy, and intentional interference with business relations. You've been making false statements about my professional qualifications, ethical conduct, and fitness for office. Morgan looked desperately toward his production booth. His producers were equally stunned. The damages sought are $20 million, Crockett continued, plus punitive damages, plus injunctive relief requiring you to issue public corrections and retractions. $20 million, Morgan's voice cracked. That's absurd. Actually, Piers, given your international audience and the repeated nature of your defamatory statements, our damages experts believe $20 million is quite conservative, Crockett interrupted. You've damaged my reputation before an international audience. She pulled out another document. On the 19th of October, you stated I had faked my law degree credentials. That statement is demonstrably false, and I have my law school transcripts and bar admission records to prove it. Morgan tried to interrupt, but Crockett continued. On the 22nd of October, you claimed I was under investigation by congressional ethics committees. Also false. I have written statements from the House Ethics Committee confirming no such investigation exists. On the 4th of November, you stated I had financial conflicts of interest. False again. My financial disclosures are public record. With each false statement, Morgan seemed to shrink. But here's what makes this case particularly strong, Crockett said, pulling out another document. These emails from your production team show that you were provided with evidence contradicting each of these claims before you made them. She held up printed emails. On the 12th of October, your producer, Sarah Mitchell, emailed my office asking about my educational background. My staff responded with copies of my law degree, my bar admission, and my academic transcripts. Morgan's face went pale. We receive a lot of correspondence. On the 20th of October, your team again contacted my office asking about any pending investigations. My chief of staff explicitly told them no such investigations existed. On the 1st of November, your team asked about my financial disclosures. We provided them with links to my public filings. She sat back. So, you weren't just reckless with the truth, Piers. You were deliberately ignoring evidence that contradicted the false narrative you wanted to create. Morgan was visibly sweating. Congresswoman, surely we can discuss this, perhaps off camera. Oh no, Piers, Crockett replied with a slight smile. You wanted to conduct your character assassination on live television. It's only fitting that you face the consequences in the same form. She pulled out another section of the lawsuit. The complaint also details the harm you've caused to my reputation. Since your false statements began, I've received thousands of hostile emails and phone calls. I've had to hire additional security. My staff has spent countless hours responding to media inquiries. Morgan gripped his chair. This is unprecedented. You can't just sue someone for doing their job as a journalist. That's exactly the point, Piers, Crockett shot back. You weren't doing your job as a journalist. What you did was create entertainment by spreading lies about an elected official. That's not journalism. That's defamation. The legal papers rustled. The complaint also seeks injunctive relief. If we prevail, you'll be required to issue public retractions prominently displayed on your show and social media. You'll also be prohibited from making any further false statements about me. Morgan tried one last desperate gambit. This is clearly a publicity stunt. A publicity stunt? Crockett's voice rose with genuine anger. Piers, I'm a sitting member of Congress. I don't need publicity stunts. What I need is for media personalities to stop lying about me with impunity. She stood up. This lawsuit isn't about publicity. It's about accountability. For too long, people like you have hidden behind claims of journalism while spreading lies and destroying reputations. The days of consequence-free defamation are over, she declared, pointing directly at Morgan. If you want to criticize my policies, that's fair game. But when you lie about my qualifications, integrity, and fitness for office, that's not journalism. That's defamation. And now you're going to pay for it. The studio was silent. Morgan sat frozen. The process server is standing by outside your studio, Crockett announced. But since we're live on television, service is complete. You've been officially served, Mr. Morgan. She gathered her documents and stood to leave. Your lawyers will want to review the complaint carefully. Discovery begins in 30 days, and I look forward to deposing you under oath about your reckless disregard for the truth. As she headed toward the exit, she turned back. Oh, and Piers, next time you want to destroy someone's reputation, make sure you have your facts straight. In America, we have laws against what you've been doing. And now you're going to learn about them the hard way. The camera stayed focused on Morgan's stunned face as Crockett walked out, leaving behind one of the most devastating legal ambushes in television history. The silence stretched for nearly 10 seconds before Morgan stammered about going to commercial break. The damage was done. Within minutes, clips of Morgan's reaction raced across social media. A Harvard law professor tweeted, "This is how you handle media defamation in the digital age, with preparation, precision, and public accountability." British newspapers, traditionally supportive of Morgan, covered his potential downfall. The Guardian ran a scathing editorial. The Times of London suggested Morgan's approach represented everything wrong with modern media. Legal experts worldwide began analyzing the Crockett case as a template for accountability. Oxford University's Reuters Institute announced a comprehensive study. The financial implications for Morgan and Talk TV were immediate. The network's stock dropped 14% after hours. Major advertisers reviewed relationships. Morgan's personal brand suffered severe damage. His social media following dropped by 550,000. Talk TV went into crisis mode with heated discussions about standing by Morgan. The lawsuit named both Morgan and the network, meaning Talk TV could be liable for the full $20 million. Other media personalities had mixed reactions, but many privately supported Crockett. For Crockett, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Her office received over 100,000 supportive messages. 3 months later, Morgan's legal team tried to get the case thrown out, claiming that his comments were just opinions. In response, Crockett's team delivered a powerful counterargument, including audio clips from Morgan's production meetings. In these recordings, he supposedly admitted that some of his claims were probably false, but would make for good TV. During the discovery phase, it was revealed that Talk TV executives were aware that many of these claims were untrue, but still pushed them for better ratings. This shocking information led to more lawsuits and investigations in the UK. Public opinion shifted dramatically as a result of the lawsuit. A survey conducted 6 months later showed that 72% of people supported taking legal action against media figures who spread false information. This case seemed to change how public figures dealt with criticism from the media, leading to a new level of accountability. Morgan's career took a major hit. He lost his show and his reputation. Talk TV eventually settled the case for an undisclosed amount, along with a public apology and a retraction of the false claims. Meanwhile, Crockett emerged as one of the most effective politicians of her time, proving that careful planning and smart strategies could overcome media intimidation. This case became essential reading in journalism, law, and political science courses around the world. It highlighted that in our fast-paced, interconnected world, careless journalism can lead to quick and serious consequences. What do you think about this situation? We want to hear your thoughts. Please share your opinion in the comments below. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to Shoaib Buzzer Stories channel. We're diving into the complexities they don't want discussed, and we're just getting started. God bless you and God bless America.